taking here? As I'm curious to see, it's a Ziggs wave clear. There you go.
So we were talking about the benefits of the Varus. The Ziggs, of course, are very similar. I think does more damage, but slower to activate.
There goes the Lucian,
Wow.
heading back on over to Sirius.
So when you see that Ziggs, that long range clear, the idea, obviously, the Ziggs is going to be left alone in the Dragon lane to be that stable presence. Picking the Lucian is a challenge. It's saying we're going to step into that and try and do as much damage as possible.
I love this Lucian pick as well because you can flex it either mid. Sirius picked that up twice against JDG. Now Jax for USG for that scaling again.
And that's a good sign because, again, we talk about that scaling and then not having enough tools in game number one. All three of these picks so far give USG a very good late game team fight.
Yeah, everything's all set, but for me, Stamina needs to have wave clear because if you're up against a Ziggs, how can you move around the map if you're going to get out-shoved by the Ziggs on USG?
And one of those things with Ziggs where if you do fall behind, you know you can always hang around one of the towers and just clear out the wave over and over again to facilitate the Jax to get to the point and then have the Wukong be the main engage point.
I almost want something like the Xin Zhao or the Lee Sin
Oh,
over on Stamina. Lee Sin already taken off the board by them, but something in that vein, because you have this Lucian and the clear mission statement of, we're going to try and end this game early. And that means that you're not going to have a ton of damage from your Dragon lane once you get to the late game. You're going to get outscaled by the Ziggs. You're going to get outscaled by everything here. So I want the full investment into that, and they haven't. They've split their bets. You have the Lucian, you have the Kha'Zix, you have the Singed. Kha'Zix, Singed better in the mid-late game, Lucian better early. Stamina are going to need a lead to make that kind of composition work.
And exactly, that's why I'm worried, TJ, because yes, I love this very much. Honestly, if they pick up the Corki for Stamina for their last pick, I think it suits them very, very well. It's almost like a 4-1, or rather a team fight with big disengage in case USG doubles down on more engage. But look at that, Rakan's gone, Galio's gone. The biggest question is what's left to basically complement this Wukong, because I feel like a Cyclone is not enough. There you go!
That's the denial as well.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about, needing something like a Galio to prevent those assassin dives. We still haven't seen with Death's pick, USG full late game. It's Akshan as well, played in competitive, but only useful if you're planning on going as late as a Senna would to activate.
Oh my gosh, I could hear Rafa saying yeah in the background.
The
after
Akali!
the Akali getting picked and most likely towards with death.
Double assassin dive to try and punish Tatsuki. Double assassin dive to try and kill this Akshan. It's all going to be down to USG to reach the late game and to defend Tatsuki in it.
It's so easy too with Sirius on the Singed. Buy Proto Belt, first item. Proto Belt flash in, you flip, Akshan, then boom. All the damage in the world coming from the Kha'Zix is just so perfect.
I know that USG wins if they get late, but I do not feel very confident that they are going to get there. It was a lot of damage on Stamina's side early in those first three.
Okay, I kind of look like Akshan, and I want to see him win as well. And ooh, unsold stuff trying to look for a kill. But okay, let's talk about drafts real quick, right?
Yeah.
It's exactly as the analyst desk said it. If unsold stuff can get to the late game, they win. Like always. If they don't, they lose. So Stamina just has to do the exact same thing they did on the first game. Push early game, get some. They should be even more aggressive, and then just win the game.
But of course, you had some criticisms for With Death in the top side, unable to snowball and compound his lead even more.
So Withstat played it incredibly well, regardless of that early game. You know, he was so good in the late game. But yeah, he gotta be more aggressive in the early game. But this time, he's up against Wukong. You know, Lark is playing the Wukong. That is a difficult champion to be aggressive against in the Baron lane. Like, you're not gonna win early game that easily against Wukong.
Right, and so here with the Akali, not as expected to win that early game, but he does do a lot later on. Threes is the target, Tatsuki's the target, but they have to stay alive.
You know, and Unsold Stuff Gaming, we could get some crazy highlight plays right here, you know, because Akshan is that one champion that can revive everyone, right? Like, that's such a beauty of this champion. Because sure, it takes him a little while to scale into the late game. Oh, by the way, Akshan can punish Singed in the early game as well. But, oh, and there you can see it, right? Like, Lark against Withstat, this is what happens. Wukong wins against an Akali like this. So, I assume Series is going to go for that very early Proto Belt, so we can catch out Tatsuki on that Akshan. And if that happens, gank, boom, and he's dead.
A very interesting start here.
Ooh.
Out from Kaz, very close to the solo kill onto Gomelo.
Ooh, that was a close one. That was that set true damage you saw right there. And of course, that scales into the late game as well, as true damage doesn't get blocked by anything. But this time, we actually see Gomelo on a Lucian on an ADC. It's funny to say that it's like a crazy thing we see an ADC Lucian, because every single time we see that whole breaker Lucian in the mid lane. But this time, we're seeing the traditional ADC, and here it is!
Tatsuki
Oh, it doesn't get
exhausted.
it.
And so Sirius decides not to push on.
Mai was ready, yet again, right? Like, Mai is constantly ready for these types of things. He knows how to play around this composition, yet again.
There we go.
Unable to catch Tatsuki, unfortunately.
Adhesives comes through. But with too much damage out from Tatsuki now, Sirius cannot push his advantage.
Lazing is just desperately trying to get some ganks off, because he knows if he doesn't, they lose the game, but it's just not working out for him. This is kind of a deja vu from first game. The exact same thing is happening, but this time, it's actually Tatsuki in the mid lane that is sitting on quite a comfortable lead, and, you know, he wins this lane against Singed, because he's a ranged champion and Singed is the melee champion, which means he can just out-damage him. So here, Singed is gonna go for the minion. What happens is, oh, he actually didn't. I think he misclicked the minion, or he tried to push it out. Did Singed just ult?
Just trying to heal up. He wants to sustain in lane. You know, it's a difficult lane to be in.
Yeah.
Wants to make sure he has that sustain. Well, looking at maybe a dive in the bottom end, this stamina will start to gather the players towards the bottom side by Kaz nearby. Deters that opportunity.
So Threes is playing the Ziggs as well, which is a very difficult champion against the Gragas, because you can get caught out very easily. And also against that Lucian, because Lucian has so much mobility. He can dodge out those abilities from Ziggs. So if Gomelo on that Lucian plays a very good Lucian and constantly dodges around, Threes is not going to have any chance to hit him.
Threes also working towards his Luden's Echo first, so we will see the initial damage spike. We saw how effective that was in our first series of the day. The Ziggs able to deal with the Varus matchup quite well, especially once those Mega Inferno Bombs start to chunk you out for half your health. There's just not much you get to play for.
Oh yeah, and the most interesting part of this game is probably going to be the objectives, because Unsold stuff has been very good with objectives in their respective region. Been struggling a little bit here during Wild Rift Icons, but I expect them to take some more fights, because, you know, they have to. So they either shake hands or they take fights, but Kaz is looking for something.
Exhaust on the Sirius, but Exhaust on the Tatsuki to flash away from Sirius to get into safety as Kaz will appear in the mid lane.
And that's great, right? You want to burn those cooldowns before the objectives. Sirius is going to have a serious problem right now, because he just wasted his flash before the Dragon and the Rift Herald. This is great for USG.
Yeah, a minute away, no flash, no exhaust for Sirius. Very difficult to find agency as that Singed.
Oh, that's the ultimate from Wukong.
Fight happens towards the top side with Def just going to walk away, but the Cyclone committed here from Lark.
That's not what you want to see happen. Lark just wasted his ultimate. That's one of the most important abilities they need for a team fight. Stamina is definitely going to play around this. They have to take a fight. Oh.
Seconds too late on Avoinen. Would have loved to be able to get that kill to prevent the recall from happening.
Oh yeah, and now Stamina has a big advantage, because even though, you know, Singed used his ability, Singed is very soon gonna have his ultimate. Lark, on the other hand, on that Wukong, just wasted his ultimate for nothing. He didn't burn any cooldowns from Withstat on that Akali. So you can see Stamina just picked up 3 items. On the opposite side, Unsold stuff also has 3 items, but it's Akshan with a Hull Breaker. So during those objectives, Stamina is definitely gonna have the edge.
A little bit surprising here. Stamina actually allowing USG to take away the early game relatively unscathed, going on to the Infernal Drake first, while USG move on to the Rift Herald.
No, Unsold stuff is not gonna allow it. They're gonna fight.
Yeah, watch out for this. Tatsuki's over by the back. He's actually gonna lay out some decent damage onto Sirius, jumping in. Kaz tries to lead the charge. Avoinen tries to back away, but very nice pull onto Gomelo. Disengage happens as Avoinen uses the explosive cast, trying to force them back. But send packing and running Stamina, get the dragon, but they lose Lazing in the process.
There you go, Unsold stuff. This is the proactive gameplay you need to do. They got the Herald and they got a kill, which means they're gonna get first. They're pushing all 3 lanes, Grandin. Unsold stuff gaming is currently playing a perfect macro game.
Something strange is happening here. USG go for the late game competition, but they're winning the early game.
And they're playing so well, as you can see. Tatsuki with that Hull Breaker. Like, we need multiple cameras to catch what's happening with Unsold stuff right now, because they're doing so many different things. Rift Herald in the mid lane. Tatsuki nearly getting the bot lane turret as well. And then it's Lark on the Wukong in the top side as well. This is what they have to do. They're 1.5k gold ahead. And, oh.
3-1 on the bottom side. Tatsuki left alone to his own devices, has to nullify all. Gets back under turret with the swing.
And that's the power of Akshan, right? Like, you can get right through that glue from Singed. It doesn't matter that he'll glue you to the ground. Akshan just swings right through it.
And a pain point here for Stamina, not being able to take down this Akshan despite multiple attempts.
we can see that Tatsuki knows how to play this champion, right? Like, this is kind of like some sort of a secret champion that he's always wanted to play. And now that, you know, that they're with their backs against the wall, this could be their last game, the coach was like, all right, you know, you can go for it this game. You go for it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, we're gonna go home. Whatever.
Frankly, the fact that he's played more games on Veigar than he has on Akshan is a little surprising.
He played more games on Veigar than anyone. Yeah, it's funny to see. He loves to play those late game champions. He loves to play that Akshan. I'm just curious to see, you know, because as I said, when a team is with their backs against the walls, they're gonna pull out anything. They're gonna pull off everything, whatever they gotta do to stay in the... Oh?
No secret is too important to hold on to when your backs are against the wall. Stamina trying to move in onto Tatsuki, but Sirius will not be able to find a kill, not even with Litzing's help.
So what I was saying is, like, you're gonna do everything to stay in the Icons Championship, right? Like, they don't want to lose. And you can see he just wanted to pull off the Akshan. He just wanted to do it, and Arvoinen, he's being very aggressive on that Gragas support as well. He's constantly looking for fights, and Kaz has not been keeping up with him as much, I would say. But while I'm saying this is a game where it's 1-0. This is how games always look in the Japanese region, right? Like, this is how they always look.
Right.
And this is playing into the strengths of Unsold Stuff Gaming.
And of course, once we get deeper into the game, Mai is going to become a bigger threat.
Yeah, he's playing Jax. That's a very strong late game champion. Yet again, right? Like, it's just the same thing over and over again. The late game composition, but this time Unsold Stuff is doing a very good job. Kaz waiting in that push right there, ready to back up his team, and Mai is looking for a fight.
Moving in on Arvoinen, but he does have to dash over the wall, calling to clear the wave. Stamina want to ensure this mid-side turret stays up.
The Unsold Stuff Gaming wants to go for those turrets. They need that bot. He's gonna get it. Tatsuki is gonna try to get this turret.
Exhaust on the Tatsuki. Sirius trying to clear the way before he can move in with Death in a bad spot. Has to flash away. Looking for the ultimate out. Gets a shuriken flip instead.
Oh, Mai had actually used this flash before, but Tatsuki.
This looks to be a catch. The shot finally goes down. Avoided with a kill credit.
Lazing with a very nice kill right there. And now actually, as Stamina is gonna be taking a turret.
Whoa.
However, Unsold Stuff on the opposite side, they're doing pressure themselves as well.
First turret does go over the USG.
Bottom
Clearing
turret
out the
doesn't die.
wave. That's the Mega Inferno Bomb.
Yeah, Mega Inferno Bomb saves the bot lane turret. Unsold Stuff Gaming really stepping up their game, and it's actually them that's ahead with 1k gold. And they're gonna get another turret, right? Ah, they can't, but they're pushing their advantage very, very far. This is what we want to see, a different playstyle, which is working out very well against Stamina.
Very close to a second turret. Only needs a little bit more work.
Oh, and Threes goes for the Archangel Staff as well. It's a bold move, Grandin. This is a bold move because he's gonna be weak now. But if he can get it, oh man, this game should be over. Like,
I mean, they're looking to be in a good spot.
oh yeah, and the next Rift Herald is spawning as well. Honestly, they don't need it. Like, Unsold Stuff doesn't really need this Rift Herald. All they need, get those turrets, take the enemy jungle, just push your advantage. Don't force a fight that you can't take, because right now it's a 4 versus 5. It seems like Unsold Stuff is still interested, so let's see how this fight unfolds.
Yeah, Litzing quickly moves on to the
they're
Rift
not.
Herald.
Yeah.
But not baited in by the 4 versus 5 like you have mentioned, means that Stamina pick up the Rift Herald for themselves. Tatsuki working his way on another turret yet again.
Exactly, this is what they need to do. Although Tatsuki has to be a bit careful here because they are rotating on him.
Of course, you see the Mega Adhesive come through. The Rocket Bout used as well. Not able to get the root onto the Akshan. Avoidant now joining into the fight. The exhaust first through. Body slam lands onto the Akshan as the Akshan tries to get away in the mid side. Trying to look for a fight, but look how much damage this dealt to the turret. Mai takes it down. Culling does not help them there.
There you go, get out of your comfort zone, go for the fight, make those plays happen. This is what we want to see from Unsold Stuff Gaming. So much aggression. This is like a whole different kind of side from Unsold Stuff Gaming that we just haven't seen yet.
Absolutely. Despite the fact that Tatsuki went down, they still got that other turret. Stamina committed many to the bot side.
And I mean, look at that top lane turret as well, nearly death as well. Just Unsold Stuff Gaming playing this map so well, but even though I'm saying all this, they're only ahead by 2k gold, and it seems like they may lose this dragon too.
Yeah, Dragon likely to head over to Stamina. Mai is nearby though, so he could jump into the pit to try and steal this one away. 3,000 left on the Dragon.
He won't.
USG decide it is not worth it. We do not fight this.
Yet again, you can see it, right? Like, USG is just, they have one mission. Get to the late game. We don't care about dragons. We don't care about anything. All we want is just get as much gold and experience as we can, and we'll beat you in the late game. So it's interesting to see how Unsold Gaming is just really giving away everything. They don't care. Like, there's still a Rift Herald sitting on Stamina as well, which I assume,
They want
is
the bot
gonna go
turret.
in the mid lane. They need that mid tower.
They need the mid turret. They need to get rid of the Ziggs. Wave cleared again. That ultimate is just too effective with Death in a strange spot right now. Rest of Stamina starting to move in. He gets knocked back onto Tatsuki. Body slam onto the Akshan, but he don't have the lockdown to finish him off. Trying to jump in, they manage to pull back Lezing. Lezing in a bad spot, needs to flash away. Someone blocked the Akshan ultimate for him. Stamina has to start hiding away. It's a culling and a retreat. Out for Stamina as they run back towards lane. They do not have that turret with Death so very low. Pulled back in by the phase breaker, but a flawless execution. Tries to come across, go mellow. Shred it down, and it's USG too tanky to die.
And meanwhile, the mid lane turret is dying as well. It's just Unsold Stuff Gaming completely running over Stamina. It's like Stamina has no chance to do anything. What a beautiful gameplay by USG. And that is another turret. This is the 5th turret, and the top lane turret is going to be the 6th one if they take it. 0 turret for Stamina, Grandin.
It's as if game 1 never happened here, Christian.
It didn't happen. I don't remember it, because seeing an Unsold Stuff Gaming like this is a whole different kind of a team. This is what I wanted to see from them. And as we look into this replay, we can see how well this fight went for them. Unfortunately, Arvoinen missing that all-important Gragas ultimate, which they could have used very well here. But there it is. The beautiful set ultimate, which secured them the kill on Lezing. And after this, it was history. They're pushing the mid lane as well, if you look at the minimap on the top left. And then Tatsuki, look at this guy just going ham. Using his stasis enchant to get the bait out as well. That was nearly a triple kill for Akali. That could have happened in the later game, but Unsold Stuff Gaming, there it is. There is the audience. They're excited for it as well. This is actually in Tokyo. This is their team that's playing right now.
A very exciting moment for the fans, I'm sure, as USG. 5 turrets up to 1 that Rift Herald finally used in the top side.
But most importantly, the mid lane turret is still standing for Unsold Stuff Gaming, right? Like that is that one important turret. Meanwhile, Stamina has lost 2 of them, and this is gonna be a fight.
Rush as they move in. That's the Cyclone use, but a knockback only tosses them into themselves. Sirius with no HP, flashes out, but is taken down by the crushing blow. Gomelo comes in with the culling, but it's too late. Stamina, I've already lost 2, and chased down after by Mai. You see the counter strike come in, fall through, but a Nimbus strike. Gomelo tries to flash out back under his inventory. He's the only one that gets out alive.
It was a death brush, but it was a death brush for Stamina. It was not a death brush for Unsold Stuff Gaming. They are way too strong, and now we're only getting further into the game. And once you've fallen into this trap of Unsold Stuff Gaming, you're not gonna get out of it anymore.
Fall to the top side, 1 to the mid side. Stamina at high risk of losing both turrets. But it will be the top side inhibitor going down first as USG back off the recoup.
No, granted, this game is over. Like, when Unsold Stuff Gaming is able to get this ahead with their compositions, with their playstyle, the game is over. Like, look at this right here. This was supposed to be a win for Stamina. They were in a 3 versus 2 situation, but even then, they weren't able to win this. And now it's the Jax scaling all the way into the late game. Mai is not gonna allow Stamina to make a comeback anymore. This is what Unsold Stuff needs to do. They had some great plays. They had some opportunities, and they took every single one of them, and now they're here. I believe they're nearly like, what, 8,000? Yeah, it's like 10,000 gold. It's a 10,000 gold lead with a composition that's better in the late game.
I mean, I keep hearing about this better in the late game composition, but I am looking at a USG dominant early game.
Oh, yeah. That was a dominant early game. It's crazy to see. It's honestly unbelievable. And Threes is also finishing off his Rabadon's death cap. Like, Unsold Stuff Gaming is going to have so much damage in team fights. Stamina is just not going to be able to deal with it. And you can see it, right? Like, Sirius on that cinch is trying to get his build up, but he's up against an Akshan with 3.5 items. Jax with 3 items, and they're going to look for another kill. This is going to review Akali, the shadows. Yeah, so she has to flash away. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, Unsold Stuff is ready for everything. Even the Akali is not going to be able to do anything. You can see it. One ultimate deals like 40% of Gomelo's damage, and he doesn't even have the Rabadon's death cap yet.
Lezing isolated, alone, by himself on the top side, trying to clear out waves, trying to get back into the game. He's fallen behind. He knows he needs damage. If he's going to deal with Tatsuki, if he's going to deal with threes.
Oh,
but in the meantime, Tatsuki, alone with an assassin, says, I can take you on.
Oh. You can see how far Unsold Stuff is just pushing their advantage. Lezing is just desperately trying to push the top lane. Meanwhile, mid lane goes down!
Mid lane does go down, but Mai in a spot of trouble now inside the base of Stamina. But we do see them get away for now, but Lezing jumps back into the lead to take down the enemy jungler.
But does it matter? No. 2 turrets are dead, 2 inhibitor turrets. The dragon, you know, it would be funny if Unsold Stuff gives away this dragon as well. Like, we don't need dragons. Who needs dragons to win the game? Like, Stamina's probably gonna... Well, they could. Nah, it seems like Unsold Stuff is not gonna do it this time. They don't have to give it away.
They do not have to give it away. Mai is dead though, so USG could choose to play it safe. I wanted to save that, but as I watch this, they jump in with the showstopper, trying to lead the fight in. Lark such kind of way. Has a clone coming through. A flash in from Sirius. He's looking for the pull. Trying to take down a primary target early on, but it's so difficult with them kiting around his shroud. Will finally find his mark. But guess what? He's revived by Tatsuki as they join back in. Respawns in time. Stamina sent into the blue buff pit, fighting away as Slug dashes in. The Nimbus strike finally goes down into the Guardian Angel, but Tatsuki on their trails.
And there is the revive from Akshan. He's just going after those thrills. If he gets the kill, he revives his teammates. Threes had died on that Ziggs, but he's back up. And now like that was an even fight, but it doesn't matter because you have an Akshan. 2 deaths for Stamina and only 1 death for Unsold Stuff Gaming. And they'll just rush the Baron.
It was a TP onto the Dragon, but it's it. I think we get Baron here, guys.
Yeah, they could just get the Baron. There is no Kha'Zix. You can just smite down the Baron. There is no champion that's gonna stop you from doing this. This is an easy Baron from Unsold Stuff Gaming, and it's so good to see this team making the proactive plays right now. He's probably gonna use his ultimate, trying to desperately steal it, but it's not gonna work, of course.
Yeah, not against the smite. Odds stacked against him. Avoidant, unfortunately, will not be able to take that one away in USG.
Oh yeah, and even Ziggs is sitting on 3.5 items right now. You know, Tatsuki still has that whole break, and as we look into the replay, you can see it, right? Like, Unsold Stuff Gaming was doing so well, but Threes did get caught. Beautiful, beautiful play by Sirius, rooting up that Ziggs, and sure, Threes died. Right. I'm not sure where he died, but yeah, here,
there we
the
go.
Akali. It doesn't
Akali,
matter, you see, it doesn't matter. Like, 2 seconds after, he just got revived by the Akshan.
And of course, you can't pick up the teleport and join in again, and so you can see when the Akshan is online, able to get its job done. Honestly, does so much.
It's one of the worst things that happens to you during a ranked match, right? Like, where you kill everyone.
You get the pentakill, and then die to the Akshan.
It actually happened to me once.
Yeah.
There was an Elder Dragon. The Pantheon in my team got a quadra kill, and only Akshan was up, and all of us were up, and then he died, and everyone revived.
Oh my goodness. Terrifying, honestly. Here we have it. Lizing trying to make a final stand. Dashes him to leap, but flashes out over the wall.
Wow, that's just so much damage from Unsold Stuff Gaming. Getting that last turret as well. Like, you can see how desperate Stamina is right now, but they're just not going to be able to defend this against Unsold Stuff Gaming.
That is exactly right. One last turret in between USG and tiring up this series back 1-1. They move in. They take down the first target. Series goes down. Log goes in with the Cyclone. They chase them back under the fountain, trying to trade back wherever they can, but Stamina having a difficult time. Log continues to wreak havoc among their backline. Let's see the last one standing, and it's USG that ties up the series.
We're going to game 3 again, baby. We're having some banger series right now. You can clearly see these teams are giving their all to not get eliminated during the Icons Championship. Like, this is it for them. They have to win right now. If they don't, then it's just over. So really, really nice to see an Akshan work so incredibly well. And it's just crazy to see these teams, you know, they pull off those...
Engage, because sometimes one engage isn't enough. You need an additional CC to hold people down, and that's the time Tatsuki can follow up. And it did happen.
And one, I guess, change that Stamina made that I did not like very much, Lizing taken off of the Lee Sin and then put on this Kha'Zix that had no effect. Again, you saw it there in our first clip. It was like, okay, cool. Here's them getting pushed out of lane early, and then the next fight that they have is at like 5-6 minutes. What happened in the early game? You're supposed to be the early game team here.
I'm gonna call back to the WRL recipe from the top of show. Again, you need wave clear for your junglers to move proactively in the early game. They didn't have wave clear. Stamina didn't have wave clear at all. They're gonna be struggling. They're gonna get shoved time and time again, especially USG had a Ziggs.
Yeah, with depth on the top side, on the Akali, not wave clear, maybe